somewhere I think I heard that today you work with like 5 different coaches. I could
Yeah.
have gotten the number wrong. Tell us more about that.
It could be more. I have an unlimited budget for my health and my personal development. We should find somebody that's achieved an outcome that we admire and study them. So that's all I did. When I read this book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, and I said, oh, that's kind of the way, I don't think I know that. I hired this guy, Bob. He was a certified E-Myth coach, and he helped me on that journey. And that's kind of what I did for a while. But then when this is the funny part, is I was struggling in other areas of my life, and I never even occurred to hire coaches for them. But I'm like, what's the pattern that's allowed me to win repeatedly in business that I'm not applying to other areas? And it was that. So then all of a sudden I hired, a triathlon coach. And I was like, well, this works. And then I hired a swimming coach specific. So it was like, even within a discipline, I'm going to hire somebody that's a specialist, right? I hire a health coach, a longevity coach. I hired a family coach. We have a parent coach. We have a coach that's got 30 years helping parents talk to teenagers. Okay, our kids are 11 and 10. We're getting a little ahead of it. I'm like, dude, give me your frameworks. And I know what I look for. I like. And people are like, how do you find these people? Go on YouTube, go on TikTok, go on. Honestly, people creating the content to help you deal with the thing, just click their link. You'd probably be surprised. There's a call, get on a call with me, or there's a fill out this thing or whatever. So a lot of the coaches, what I love is many of them, almost all of them, honestly, they're people where I discovered them. I almost felt like they were presented to me in the right times, right? Like even meeting you a long time, I think it was Camp Maverick when we first met, and just like listening to your story and your experience. And at that time I was starting SaaS Academy, and you were kind enough over the years to like meet up with me and share that perspective. Like, I just think, oftentimes the people are right there that can help you, but you just got to do the click, reach out. Hey, I'm in San Diego. Do you have time to meet up for breakfast kind of stuff? Yeah. And so today we have, essentially there's people we work with actively. There's people that are available to us. Like we have a family coach, Brooke. When we feel that it's timing and we want that, like when we look at kind of the things we're working on, we'll fly her up. She'll live with us for 3 days at a time. She wakes up in the morning, watches the whole interaction, does things with our kids, does stuff one-on-one with my wife, one-on-one with me, as a group, because that's what you do in a professional sports team. Yeah. Like people are like, that's crazy. You have a coach come live with you and watch how you interact with your wife and your kids and then give you feedback. It's like, how is that crazy? If I want to be a world-class performer in anything, you record the thing you're doing, you review it with other people that are great and world-class at this, they give you feedback, then you go do it again, you try it differently, see if it had a better outcome. And if it does, you consider adding it to the response next time that happens. And I'll tell you, those 3 days are some of the best investments I could ever make in my being a father, being in a relationship with my wife, just understanding me better. So yeah, I have, and then I work with Ed Milet right now. He's like one of the top coaches. He calls me a civilian. Okay, he only works with civilian? Yeah, because he only works with celebrities and athletes. Yeah, okay. So I'm a civilian. And we talk, and it is the funnest thing in the world to have somebody who's already not only built like the business and life, but his presence and the way he like if anybody listens to this podcast, like he's just got this really unique way of doing it. It's why it's one of the top ones out there. And just spending that time with him. And honestly, people go, what do you learn from him? A lot of stuff. But I'll tell you what I get the most from, and this is what I try to do for my clients, his belief in what I'm doing. Right? I don't know who said it, but they said once, they go, the transformation happens at the transaction. Here's why. The moment you write the check, you send the wire, you commit to that, that is when you've just told yourself, I'm worth it. Yeah. So the transformation happened at that point. Approve, send. And yes, the calls are going to bring value, but I would argue for most people, if they're present of what they just said to themselves is, I am worth investing in. Yeah. And that is why I have an unlimited budget for my personal development, because I know everything that goes into that comes out 10x. Because I trust me. Yeah. You know this, man. Most people don't trust themselves.
Yeah, that's the biggest struggle. That's
Yeah.
the biggest struggle. That's why, like, you listen to conversations like this as well, so you can go, oh, that person struggled with the same thing. Now I can maybe borrow some trust here
Totally.
because I'm thinking the same way or I'm acting the same way, or I can take this for me, which is also why I know a lot of people struggle. They may not be able to afford Ed Milat coaching them, but you can afford a book. You can afford, and that's how I learned. Yeah, you can afford a podcast. It's for free, really. But then become not passive about it, like
Study.
be invested in it. Because
Yeah.
let's say you can't invest in money, but you can invest in time, and that's a big investment to make. Like, know that that's not just worth, oh, I listened to this podcast and I got absolute jack shit about it. Like, no, like really listen to it, because you can't afford, let's say, to hire Dan or to Ajit or to anybody or Ed Milat or whoever we are talking about.
Yeah.
You can't afford to hire them. That's okay. You can listen to this conversation. You can get the tools. You can get a book. You can get the tools. At least you can get started. And it is very similar. I don't have a budget for health and personal development. Me and Nita both do not have a budget. We're like, go whatever till the time we align that that's what we're doing. This is aligned to the goals that we have for the year or for the next 5 years, 10 years.
It's speed.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah. The sooner we can become the people we will become in the future, the faster we get to enjoy that.
Yeah.
And that's why people are like, I'm like, how fast, like, okay, so you want to achieve this. Why? So I can do this, this, and this. Perfect. Let's compress that.
Compress the time.
So that you can start living that future now. Because I want to do that in my 30s and 40s, not my 70s and 80s. And they're like, oh yeah. It's like, okay, so everything's about speed.
Yeah.
So that we can pull into our current lives those futures.